I might be a Citizen convert after this, let's see. It's actually a very good box, to be fair. So in here we've got 2 new Citizen watches, which I purchased from the Citizen website, and they're fresh additions to the popular Forza line. But unlike the previous one, these 2 are both Eco Drive, so solar powered quartz. Let's see what's on offer. Nice. So on the website, this one is just named Forza Super Titanium, but the code name for this one is AW0130-85X. So it sounds pretty dodgy, but it looks pretty good. So this is a new integrated bracelet sports watch, and we have seen a couple of these recently from Citizen. There was that new Suyosa Small Seconds, which had a great looking dial, and it's kind of a similar story here. I think, again, this one is all about the dial texture. This one comes in a couple of different colors. This one's like the green dial version. The dial is very special. It kind of looks like that Japanese paper dial that I've seen on some JDM Citizens before. So I paid £399 for this one minus a discount, so I think I got 10% off by signing up to their newsletter, so it was more like about £360, which if this were stainless steel might be a little bit expensive considering the specs. But this is super titanium, and without a doubt this is the best finished Citizen Super Titanium watch I've tried on this channel and on my Ben's Watch Club channel, no doubt. Really has some nice refined edges. From side on it looks like the Christopher Ward 12 to a degree. Now with Super Titanium, I seem to be one of the only people who has actually tested Super Titanium, and I tested one of their other watches that was advertised as Super Titanium and found it wasn't very good. Now, despite the massive lack of documentation on Citizen's site, apparently there are actually different grades of Super Titanium which perform rather differently when it comes to scratches. In the product description, this one explicitly says it's 5 times harder and 40% lighter than stainless steel, which suggests it's got the kind of best coating. Let's see what it says on the back. Now on the back, oh yeah, so it says base titanium, which is what some people said to look for when it says it's not coated. If you can see it just there. On the scratch test, some of you guys said that if it's got that, that means it's one of the weakest in the Super Titanium range. You guys said to look explicitly for where it says Duratect, but this one also says Duratect on the back, which is just up here. So who knows how well this one will actually perform. Hopefully it'll perform as well as the description. But either way, Citizen really needs to work on their product messaging because it's pretty confusing. One thing that isn't confusing is the size, because this one looks pretty small for a Citizen, which is nice. I might actually be able to wear one. Across the middle, it's got kind of an unusual shape. So it said 39mm online. That's actually 39.7 across the width. It is somewhat squared off, so it might wear a bit smaller. Lug to lug is difficult to measure. From the fixed central links, 46.3. Actual lug to lug, 41.7. And 10.2 thick. I'll try this on in a minute. I also have another one worth looking at, and I think this one cost me about £100 more. Now, I like the colour of this one because it kind of looks like a lot of the chronographs you may have seen before, but the dial colour, yeah, it's really distinctive actually. There we are. So definitely bigger than the other one. These 2 watches kind of released simultaneously. Now the code name for this one is CA4610-85Z on the Citizen website, just called Forza Super Titanium. I'll link both of these watches in the video description, by the way, so you can take a look at them if you want, and there is a few other colours too. And again, it's got the really textured effect on the dial. This one comes in a couple of different colours, but this was by far the most unique, almost like a peachy brown colour. A little bit like orange, but not quite. I think they call it textured salmon, which it does look more like textured salmon in person than it did online. Online it looked closer to brown, I'd say. Both of these models, by the way, feature a sapphire crystal. This one's definitely slightly larger. 43mm I've got it as across the width. I think this was actually advertised as 42, so I don't know who's been doing the measuring. Maybe they're measuring across somewhere else. We'll see how it fits in a moment. 49.3 from the end link to end link, and then lug to lug 44.2. Thickness, this is definitely chunkier, 12mm. So this one won't fit me, but the case finishing again looks really nice. It's got all the same messaging on the back. Both of them have these screw backs with 100 meters of water resistance advertised. Let's see how these functions feel. Oh, well, this pusher is extremely mushy. Now, I've been spoilt recently trying out a lot of the mechanical chronographs or the mecha quartz chronographs, which always have much more satisfying pushers. This one is fine when you set it off like that, you get a really satisfying click, but when you stop it, this is super mushy. No tactile feedback at all on that one. A really slow reset like a quartz, although this might be even slower. Maybe it just needs a bit of a recharge. Both of these are solar powered, of course, so they will need some time in the sun probably to kick them off. Bracelets on both. Let's have a look. Given that they are both titanium bracelets, they both feel very light, so you don't get the assured quality that you get with steel, at least in terms of the feeling. In general, it looks and feels okay. The only concerning part for me is this. I mean, I just despise when the micro adjustment holes. I mean, this barely qualifies as a micro adjustment. In some other watches, that's like a link size difference. It's always best when a clasp has got more than enough holes to cover the width of a full link, and then you can get a really customized fit. This is like a bare minimum job on the clasp, which is a bit frustrating. But I have to say, both watches, they do look like almost luxury dials. They really do. Very, very impressive. Let's see if I can try any of these properly. No chance I'll be fitting this on my wrist. Let's have a see. So this is like my normal experience with the Citizen. No matter which ones I like, they never really fit me. I do have a small wrist, I've got to say, but I haven't got a freakishly small wrist. This is my main frustration, but also this is the reason I was excited to try this other one, which was one of the smallest looking Citizens in recent times, but it does look really good on wrist. You would think this was more expensive if you saw it from a distance, although, you know, it's hardly a cheap watch, I have to say. Maybe when it hits the grey market, it'll be cheaper. Now, this is the one I was really interested in. It does look a bit generic to some extent. I think the hands look a little bit generic in the markers. Certainly has date-justy vibes or PRX vibes, no doubt. And for once, that is somewhat close to fitting me. It's probably realistically a fraction too large still. It's being actually more like a 40mm watch. Luckily, it has got a very short lug to lug. And again, it looks nice on the wrist. I do like this green colour, but the fit, it will be leaving gaps even after I've adjusted this bracelet, I'm sure. So just bear that in mind. This one does wear, I'd say it wears more like a 39.5mm watch as opposed to actually a 39mm, but it looks great. It does fit smaller than the Ciosa, definitely fits smaller than that. Both have a push-pull crown. The only thing that really puts me off this watch, at first at least, is just the sheer size and position of the day-date complication there. I think that's quite intrusive on the whole dial. It's not very far off to the side. To me, this just is begging to not have the day there at least. But yeah, despite it, both are really nice looking. Oh, we need to check the low light too. Let's have a look. Now, Citizens have always been middle of the road to me in terms of lume. So the markers suck, quite frankly, but the hands look reasonable. I'll have to give that a test in the full review. Yeah, the hands look good though. They haven't faded much at all since I turned off the torch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I will probably, with gritted teeth, have to scratch one of these at some point, because if they on the product listing are saying these claims about the scratch resistance and performance of this material literally in the listing, and it still ends up scratching easily, there will be trouble.